Okay, so this will be the fourth video of the grinder assembly. The previous three videos that are on the YouTube channel go over the grinder base, the grinder slider, and a grinder handle. So if you've not completed any of those three parts, please exit out of this video and go back and get those parts completed so that you can get the assembly completed. Okay, this one here I'm going to focus on the grinder knob. Now this one's a little unique because this one actually is going to require a revolve feature. We have not really done a revolve in class, but this is pretty straightforward. The key on this is going in here and basically taking this half of the model, just one half of this, what's called a section view, taking this left half or right half, does not matter, building it as you see it, and then doing what's called a revolve feature. Okay. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new part in inches on the front plane. And what I'm going to create is this left half with all the numbers on it of this design right here. Okay, now to understand this, what I have here is I have a line at the bottom and a line on the side. There's a curve here with a second curve here and a third at the top. So there's actually three curves in total. Okay, so I'm actually going to use my line tool to create curves. Actually, what I'll probably end up doing on this one, in a lot of cases here, I'll probably end up using my 3-point curve tool, just going to get the curves to look right. But we'll kind of walk through this process as we go along. I'm going to slide this drawing over so I can get my SolidWorks up on the other side and start with a file new and start a new part in inches. Now for this one, I'm going to go ahead on the front plane. I'm going to start with a new sketch, and I'm basically going to create half of the part I was just talking about. I'm going to go here, draw straight up. I'm going to pull away and touch the end line, allow me to do a shallow curve. Okay, so I'm going to keep my curve right about there. That looks pretty good. Left click, pull away, come back and touch the end point. I'm going to create a sharper curve. Okay, I'm just going to kind of pull it there. Left click, I'm going to pull away and touch again and create a curve coming the other way. Pull straight down and close. I'm going to hit my F key to center this up, kind of roll back just a little bit. And now what I got to do is define this piece right here. So I'm going to go through, and the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that, for instance, this point here, okay, this arc up here has a center point, and that's what this little plus sign is at the very bottom. I want to make sure that that center point is vertical to the end of this line. So I'm going to say vertical. Okay. And then I'm going to add a dimension there. And that dimension is going to be 1.125. Okay. So that gives me that dimension there. Now, this one here, I'm going to end up doing a dimension. Let me see. From here, I'm going to do a dimension on this one of 0.25, and also on this one I want to make sure that the center mark here to here, now this is the hard part because this has to actually be inside, so I'm actually going to have to stop for a second, grab this and pull it in tighter. It's okay, it's going to shift some things. We'll get it dialed up here in just a second when we get this part kind of figured out. I'm just going to kind of make some adjustments here. Trigger my smart dimension. I'm going to dimension from this point right here to this point right here and pull straight up. And I'm going to make that distance 0.125. Okay, and then I'm going to go from this point here to the bottom will be 0.7573. Now, so you can see this, as you can only see the 757, I'm actually going to left click on this. And instead of 0.123 document, I'm going to do 0.1234. All right, now I'm going to continue off on here. I'm going to go ahead and dimension this. This will have a dimension of 0.2. Okay, the height of this center to the bottom here is going to be 0.325. And then I'm going to make sure that this point right here is vertical to this corner. So I'm going to add a relationship of vertical. Now it's giving me an error right here, and the reason being is I think that vertical does not need to be there because it's already on that line. So I'll just highlight and delete that off of there, call it good. Go ahead and add in this height right here of 0.125, which has already been defined. That's good. And then this dimension right here will be 0.375. Okay, so now everything is fully defined. I have everything in black. That is exactly what I want. So now the last step of this is to spin it or do a revolve. Okay, so I want to do the revolve. So under my features toolbar, there is a revolve boss base. Okay, if I click on this, what it wants to know is what is the axis of revolution. It means where do I want to spin this around. So in this case, all I want to do is I want to click on this vertical line, and the part will spin around the line. Okay. Now, as soon as you see that, go ahead and hit your check mark. All right. Now, again, we're not making this out of wood. So let's go down and look at our materials in our bill of materials. Okay. And let's say the grinder knob is made of a manganese bronze. Okay. A manganese bronze, which is under our copper alloys. So under balsam, and right click and edit. I'm going to go to my copper alloys. In an alphabetical order, I'll go down towards the bottom. I find manganese bronze. I'm going to do an apply and close. Okay. I'm also going to turn off anything that shows the shine. I think that looks okay. Now, last but not least on this one, this goes right back into the slider. So let me bring this back over so we can understand this. All right, so what this is showing here in this note is that it is telling us we're going to use a hole wizard. Okay. Now, if you don't recall the hole wizard, go back, please, and watch the grinder slider that I created, because I talk about the hole wizard in depth there. Okay. What this is telling me is I have to use a hole wizard to create this hole at the bottom of this part. Now, this is going to be a tapped hole. That'll be an 832 with a 0.1360 diameter hole, cut down at 0.656, and then threaded down to 0.5. Now, I don't expect you to remember that, but in class, I will show you what this is using the drill bits and my tap and die set. Okay, it'll make more sense when you see this physically in front of you. But what I want to do right now is I'm actually going to go under my features toolbar here, and under features, I'm going to go to the hole wizard in the middle, and we are going to go ahead and redo this. Okay, so the part I want to use, or the hole I want to use, is what's called a straight tapped hole. A tapped hole is threaded. I will turn that on. I want to make sure my units are matching to the part I'm creating. So I should see ANSI inch here. Now, if you see something else, use your roller mouse or roller ball in the middle of your mouse and get it up to where you see ANSI inch. Bottoming tapped is fine. The size of the hole, it already, since I've done this before, is using the last hole I used, which was an 832, and that's exactly what I want. I'm going to go to Show Custom Sizing. Okay, now here's all those numbers I was talking about. I'm going to kind of slide this over real quick so you can kind of see. I'm going to go over here and explain this on this hole. Okay, the 0.1360 is right here. That's the 0.1360. 118 degrees, don't worry about that. But then we have to have a blind in condition. It doesn't say through all, so it has to be blind. What I'm going to do now is enter the next two numbers in here. Okay, if you go back into that, let me pull that back up, sorry. I'm going to enter at 0.656 in this box. So I'll go 0.656, enter. And then in the third box, let me pull that back up real quick. I'm going to add in the 0.5. Okay, so the very last box down here will be 0.5, enter. All right, now that I have this done, I need to position this hole. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my positions tool. It says select the face for the hole. Well, I'm going to have to rotate by pushing my middle mouse button down and rotating my mouse around. And I'm going to highlight this bottom face right here. And then I'm going to attach this hole to that origin right there in the middle. I'm going to left click. I'm going to hit escape. Now on this one, I don't need the dimension because it's exactly where I want it, right in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my green check mark. And now I have the hole I need in the middle of my part. Go to my isometric view, and now this part is complete. It was done in 2 steps. So I'm going to do a Control S. I'm going to save this in the same folder in the same spot as all my other parts for the grinder assembly. I'm going to call this grinder assembly knob underscore my last name and hit save. Okay, at this point, all the parts are done. This is the 4th of the 5 videos. The next video I produce will be the video showing the assembly being finished along with the drawing. Use this video to your advantage. Pause it, rewind it. If If you need any help, don't be hesitant to ask. Otherwise, good luck.